Hey guys, welcome to Rusty Rails. Today we are going to be learning how to make one of these. It's pretty cool, right? Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Pure Cold and welcome back to Rusty Rails. Today this video is sponsored by Rocket Railways. Rocket Railways, for all your model railway needs, make sure you check the link in the description below. Everything you need is there. Talking of everything you need, the LEDs, the rocker switch and everything else you need, that's all in the description below. Just before we start, I need to get out 4 disclaimers for you. Number one, I am not an electrical engineer, so please don't take what I am saying as gospel, and make sure you try and incorporate it into your own ways. And the fact of resistors and different power voltages per LED, make sure that when you buy your LEDs you are checking in the description of the product what the voltage rating is and then what the appropriate resistor is needed. In my case, I got lucky. The supplier of the LED actually shipped it with resistors saying this 1K resistor will do everything you need. Number 2, this video is shot using my proper camera. I always use my nice big cinema camera when filming, so please, I'm using a big ass camera like this to film tiny little things like this. I'm sorry for some shaky shots. Number 3, there are 2 types of LEDs I'm going to be using. There is 0402s, which are the absolute smallest, and then there's 0603s, which are slightly bigger and they perfectly fit. However, I would recommend using the 0402, the smaller LEDs, so you can fit 2 side by side rather than using a bi-coloured LED, because even though you can get red and warm white, sometimes that warm white is more yellow than just the standard warm white of other 0603 LEDs. In a nutshell, I recommend 0402s. I know that was only 3 disclaimers instead of 4, but let's just get on with the video. I hate people when they waffle for 20 minutes. Okay, so here we go. This is what we're creating. Now this is version A. Version B, which is this one, is pretty much exactly the same. You'll see the differences, but the wiring up is pretty much the same. So what's so special about these over my other ones is they've got like a recess for these, which are 0402 LEDs, the smallest ones. So you can see that recess or that dip or that trough, and the LEDs are going to sit inside that. Now this is just a 3-volt button cell battery, and that's what I use just to make sure I've got the right colours. Yeah, so there's a hole in the base. You want to thread the wires through that, and then using a tweezer clamp, you want to, which is basically the opposite of tweezers, like you press to open rather than actually open, and you essentially just hold the LED in place and just drop super glue. You want literally a drop or half a drop if you can. Like, it's so fiddly, trust me. I broke a few of these. So then the hood goes over the top of the whole enclosure sort of thing, and that is pretty much it. And this is the 3-way rocker switch. Okay, this is where you're gonna have to bear with my non-electrical engineer background sort of thing. This is how we are wiring it up. It is going to go from the battery, which is 2 AA's, because it's, you know, 2 AA's is 3 volts. Goes through an LED. Now I need an LED because I have an 0605 bidirectional LED, which does require a resistor. Okay, so I used that in a different prototype, and I thought, you know, if you're going to hook this up to a 12 volt or a 16 volt power supply, DC or DCC, you will need a resistor. So don't take it as gospel, because I'm not going to be the one responsible for blowing your diorama up, but I think a 1K resistor is enough. But yeah, so that goes to the middle of a 3-way switch. One side goes to the white, one side goes to the red, and then it just loops background. So that way the switch is saying what side the power goes to, the white LEDs or the red LEDs. So yeah, I created this little box. Actually, well, this is a different box, and this is using... They're so delicate, I managed to break it. So as you can see, I'm just testing the wires now. So the red LED wires I'll take to one side, and the white LEDs I'll take away to the other side. Soldering that resistor to the middle peg, to the middle of the switch, is gonna basically resist the current flow going out to the sides. So there you can see the white or the red is on the left, and the other is on the right. And that is pretty much just how it is done. Now you need to spray it black, otherwise it's gonna glow through the shells. So in a nutshell, that is it. But as you can see, there was one thing that really bugged me, and that was light bleed. So this trough here was causing light bleed, the spill of light out of the bottom, and that, I really don't like that, especially if you're doing a night scene. You don't want a big red puddle on the floor or white puddle. And the hood doesn't really help it either, because it's got a big gap for the wires to come through. So I had to speak with my friend Mike Buick, and he said try go out the back. So that's what I did. I went straight through the center and created a little hood over the back, which is what you just saw there, and the wires go through the back and through the base like so. And then the hood, obviously it still has the thing, the gap in it, so it can fit round the pole. And yeah, so I headed to the 3D printer, chucked in a bunch of resin, hit print, and next minute they were done. So there you can see the hole in the back and the hood that goes over the hole to stop all the light bleed, and then the main hood goes over the front of it. So here I've soldered in all the LEDs, and as you can see they all fit perfectly through. It's a very tight fit, and they work perfectly. So as you can see, the colour doesn't bleed out the bottom, but obviously it illuminates the shell. So hit that shell up with, I think I used NATO Black, I'm not sure what the code is, but it's Tamiya. And yeah, so this is after I've painted it and let it dry. You can see it's a lot nicer, and with version B I sort of added like those little rivet holes, those bolts on the bottom, so it just adds a little more detail, and the stem is a little thicker, so it's not as fragile. So that is how you wire them up. Now, how do you go about buying these? So I was looking at packages. I really was. I spent probably the same amount of time as building and prototyping as I did looking at different LEDs, different packages and all this stuff. And I posted these sneak preview videos on my Rusty Rails page, and everybody was like, oh, are you going to do it like this? And now you're going to do it like this, and now you're going to do this, and oh, this is different, but I want it like this. And there's just so many people coming up with so many different variations. If I was to stock absolutely everything for that, it's just not practical whatsoever. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna link to the LEDs in the description. Now that housing, obviously I will sell that on the Facebook and on the eBay page. Link again is in the description, and also the switch you'll have to buy from eBay. Everything you need, the link will be in the description. Okay, so there is a couple of places you'll need to go, and I know it's like, oh, I just want to be able to buy from one place. It's not really possible, because I mean, there's just so many ways of doing, there's so many types of ground signal combinations that a lot of people are asking, oh, can you do this, and I think the only realistic way for me to be able to deliver this as a product is by me supplying the shell or the housing, and you guys picking your LED colors, whether you want warm white, cold white, you know, whether you want the bi-directional, whether you want the big LEDs, the small LED, it's totally up to you. So those links are in the description below. I don't know what more to say apart from, if you do this, please send me photos and videos over on the Rusty Rails page. Link for that is also in the description. I hope you enjoy this. It is fiddly. You do need patience. That schematic, if that's what you want to call it, go back, take a screenshot. That should help you quite a bit. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Please take care, stay well, peace and love. LED signal. So as I hate you. Oh.